This segment is brought to you by Jig Masters. Step up your game with high-quality performance jigs, spinner baits, buzz baits, and more from jigmasters.com. And always, when in doubt, get the jig out.
Welcome to the Paddle and Fin Podcast Network. This is the final cast segment with your hosts, Brad Hicks and Josh Eldridge, where we cast our final opinions on all products, good and bad. Welcome to the final cast. Welcome back to the final cast on the Paddle and Fin Network. Trash Panda here.
Brad here.
Oh, God. Brad here.
This one's going to be, I have a feeling we're going to be cutting up quite a bit on this one.
Yeah, things are about to get interesting because we have Travis Turner from Rocktown Adventures
going on,
and their janitor, Brian Schiller. Everybody.
He does a phenomenal job. You should see that toilet.
Oh, my God.
We are joined by Rocktown's janitor, the one and only, the killer Schiller. What's up, fellas?
I think it's the other way around. I think Travis is the janitor.
Nope. Once every 4 months.
Is that why it smells so bad there?
Multiple reasons.
Or is that Brian?
Jeez.
It's Brian.
No, so I'm just kidding. We brought Brian and Travis on to talk about Rocktown. A couple weeks ago, we did an episode with Loveland Canoe and Kayak, the local shop Brad and I represent. And I reached out to Brian to talk about Rocktown. Rocktown's set up differently. They're a kayak dealership, but they are more of an outfitter store, not so much as a kayak and canoe library like Loveland is. So I wanted to get some takes from them, see how the shop's doing, see how the kayak business is treating them, and also as well as the outdoor equipment. You know, I know you guys sell a lot of hiking stuff. We've seen Brian out there snowshoeing in his backyard, you know. So
making snowmen.
Building miniature snowmen.
Yeah.
I found the snowman. I did not make the snowman.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, that's what they all say.
The question is, what is it, a yellow snowman?
No.
It's probably a brown one.
It was yellow after his dog Trout went over there and peed on it, and he's like, "Get your crappy artwork out of here, dog." Oh, Brian's like, why did I agree to do this? It's turned into a roast of Brian Schiller.
Travis was nervous before we started. Now he's ready to go.
Yeah, he is. He's like,
I've been ready.
So let's start this off, man. How are you guys doing? How's the shop doing?
Very, very busy. So, beginning, I would say about, November. I was like, okay, kayak season is going to start to slow down, right? I was wrong. It kept on going. People kept on putting money down on boats for all next year. Like, I would say 40% of our orders are already pre-sold for 2020.
Wow. How many boats you guys got coming in?
Quite a few.
Yeah, I don't remember how much we sold last year, but it was like a record year too.
Yeah.
But let's highlight what brands are you guys carrying this year?
So we are carrying, our normal is last year. So Eddie Line, Old Town, New Canoe, Wilderness Systems. We'll carry a little bit of Natives this year. We didn't last year, but we will this year. Bonafide. Brian, what am I missing?
Jackson, New Canoe. Jackson, New Canoe, Bonafide.
Man, you guys carry a lot.
I think you hit them all. Some of those are wreck and touring boats. And then, as far as fishing kayaks go, it's Bonafide, Jackson, New Canoe, Old Town, and we're bringing in a few natives this year.
Awesome.
Certain model native?
Yeah, probably the Slayer.
Okay, yeah, that boat is sweet. I've been in one. They're pretty
I
cool.
haven't been in one yet, but I'm looking forward to. So everything I've seen.
Yeah, we had a few natives ordered last year, so I think it was just a general consensus, like, why don't we bring a few in? Now with the merger with Big Adventures Bonafide, we were a Bonafide dealer. Now we're open to native. It just made sense to bring a couple in this year and have on hand rather than being behind. Because it's going to be tough for everybody around, just because manufacturing plants are at, running full speed ahead, and everybody knows that, this pandemic isn't going away, and that urge to get into the outdoor stuff has not gone away either. So it's going to be rough. I mean, we've had a few manufacturers that we normally dealt with at the shop that we've had to find alternative sources for. Like Werner Paddles is so backed up, they wouldn't even fulfill our pre-order.
Right.
So we had to switch to Bending Branches, and luckily they stepped up. And because we all know, like, every kayak shop around the country last year sold out everything. I mean, Travis could probably touch on the number of boats we sold in 2020, but it was ridiculous. We usually have a pretty large inventory. We have what's in our shop, plus we have a warehouse on the other side of town that we stock all our overstock boats. And I think I've said it before. I think in the warehouse, Travis, there's typically 150, maybe 200 boats.
It's
the
not
building's
more.
empty. Yeah, the building's empty.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
and not only that, but like Travis said, 40% of our pre-orders this year are already sold. Plus we've had, orders for other boats placed on top of that.
Yeah.
So it's going to be an interesting year, and interesting couple of years, I think, coming up. I think the biggest thing is it's great for our sport. It's great for our small shops. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens. And I think, and I'll let Travis touch on it, but one thing Rocktown really strides on is the educational part. Like, we hold a lot of classes and things like that. And we got so many new people coming into the sport where that's key, right? Like,
Tons.
a lot of us have, maybe taken a paddle class, a safety class, something like that, or we've gone out with people that have gone through that and been taught those things. So, it's huge to have people doing things and getting outdoors and having fun, but it's even bigger to have people doing it in a safe manner, like,
Exactly.
like I know our friend Ricketts has told the story when he got into a kayak. He jumped on a river that was flooded, got pinched up in some trees, and like almost died. Like, people need to know, when not to go out, and not only that, but the proper safety gear. So I mean, that's one thing that has always been cool for me to see, all the extra things that Rocktown does to keep people safe on the water.
It's a good idea. It's a good idea. Is that something you guys like? Do you guys reach out to somebody to volunteer to do those classes, or is that somebody you guys pay to bring in?
I mean, friends of the shop. I mean, there's a couple of ACA instructors are certified to do it, but that's mainly in like the red kayak category. I mean, I'll go teach a class about kayak fishing safety. Brian probably can do a couple. We're gonna have a lot more this year because there's so many beginners into the sport that are just getting into it. They don't know any better. I just had the other day where a guy's like, say, I want to go out. He's like, I was like, well, the water's pretty cold. It's pretty cold out there. He's like, well, I don't plan on falling in. Well, no one plans on falling in.
Right.
You know? So then we started talking about dry suits, and he's like, you know what, you're right. Then I offered a class, and some people just don't know any better. So
Well, we had a gentleman in the shop, I think it was 2 weekends ago, and the guy was a salesman from Trek. And he had known somebody, a customer of his, very experienced kayaker. The lady went out on the Illinois River. Her husband was going to pick her up at the pickup point, and she had texted him and said, "Hey, there's an ice dam down here. I can't get there, so I'm going to paddle back upstream." She never showed back up. And they found her a couple days later. Nobody knows what happens, but this was a stretch of water the woman had paddled many times. She was wearing PFDs and all that stuff. I don't know if she was wearing a dry suit. The gentleman didn't know some of those fine details either. But, it's just one of those things. You never know what's going to happen. And the only thing you could do is be prepared for it.
Right.
Yep, for sure. I wish that was some stuff that we'd get into. We need to do courses like that, I think.
Well, we've got actually a lot of courses that are offered at I know we have an outfitter store up here in the Dayton area, and I don't know how popular it is now, but I've seen where they kind of partner with some of the local rec centers, and they do the classes at a pool, so it's in a controlled environment. You know, so that's kind of the key to it, is especially if they're, newcomers. This is not the best idea to go out and throw out somebody out in the river and have them try this stuff out either, unless you know that river's free of obstacles or any underwater hazards, that sort of thing. So
exactly.
I mean, typically that's what we do in the wintertime, just to keep classes going. But unfortunately, with the pandemic, the local high school swimming pool that we would typically use, we're kind of shut down from, just, because of, pandemic issues. But I mean, typically that's what we do. And we'll even do boat demos in the winter there. But unfortunately, we've been kind of shut off to that because of everything going on. But, I've talked about it. I haven't talked about it recently, but way back on the podcast, I took part in a paddle class through Rocktown, and I figured, hey, what the heck, worst thing that's going to happen is I'm going to learn something, and it could make me more efficient on the water, and it definitely did. A lot of people jump into a kayak and they think it's just flinging the paddle back and forth. But there's actually some technique to it. And if more people were to, take an actual kayaking 101 or paddling 101 class, it would make them 10 times more efficient on the water, where they're not. And especially in a kayak fishing tournament scenario, you're not burning up the energy and kicking your butt because you got bad technique, which is something that, I dealt with personally. But not only that, but, safety rescue class, it doesn't hurt to have, in your group of friends, one of you at least take a safety rescue class. And then, that way, if something were to happen, or all of you for that matter, just to be safer out there on the water. 'Cause it's one of those things, man, you just never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's awesome. That's hopefully this pandemic garbage clears up here soon, so we can kind of get back to that stuff, because it is a little scary when you think about how many boats are going out the door and those classes aren't available right now.
Exactly.
I mean, even you can do it in a controlled situation, but a pool, but like you said, they're all closed. So it's okay, well, we can talk about it, but sometimes the best way is to get hands on with it, and be out there.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, come spring, summer, fall, we'll be back to doing those, because we can spread everybody out. We typically do it on a local lake, if not we also can do it up off the river in a small lagoon. Our river isn't, super fast or anything like that. It's almost like being on a lake. I mean, there is a little bit of current, but it's nothing outrageous. That's right there across the street from our shop. So at least, in the warmer months, you could spread people out and, be able to have, some smaller classes. And that's the thing too, like, it's not like we're packing 100 people into a class. I think we typically limit it to like 10 or 15, right, Travis?
10 or less. Sometimes it's
yeah. So it's real intimate. So you have more one-on-one with that instructor. And you can ask questions, get questions answered. And we also do private lessons too. For all the, sports that we offer. So, sometimes you get folks that, are kind of nervous about, learning something new around others, so you could do more of that private one-on-one session, or, you just want to up your game a little bit more, Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. Brad, you got anything?
No.
Why not?
I don't know.
Jesus. Just kidding.
You're such a failure.
I know, right? And Davey's just like, let's kind of segue over to what you guys have planned as far as like the team this year. You guys doing a fishing team? And
yeah, we still got our team. I head that up. It's myself, Titus Dominguez, Rodney Hicks, one of our hosts here, JP, Jason Piskowski, and Austin Mitchell, who's up in Wisconsin. So we got a small knit group of guys, and they all do awesome things for us. They all have their own little niche in the sport, and they're all in different boats. The only ones that overlap are myself and Austin in New Canoe, but Rodney's in a Bonafide, JP's in an Old Town, and then Titus is in a Jackson Coosa. So, but we just got word today we are going to be doing a, because all the fishing expos and stuff got canceled this year. We are going to be doing a live streamed boat show, basically. Cool. And that's going to be on March 6th. We're still not sure on the time, but we're thinking from like 2 to 5 o'clock. So we'll run through all the brands. Each of the guys will kind of walk through the brand that they represent, and kind of give them everybody a 411. Typically we do 3 shows a year in the winter. One Chicago, one Madison, and then one in our local area here. And that's where you get a lot of new prospective buyers looking at kayaks, or old customers coming to check out the new models and stuff. So, unfortunately we don't have that luxury this year, so to speak. So that was one thing that, between myself, Travis, and our general manager, Kevin Versino, had kind of talked about, we do a lot of live streamed events on our Facebook page, and it was like, why don't we just do a boat show? Good
idea.
So we're going to do that, run through accessories and stuff that we carry at the shop. So, and then we always try to get together, for a trip or something. So we'll see how that goes. We all kind of have goofy schedules. JP's a firefighter. Kevin's kids have a lot of sports going on. I'm traveling around with paddle and fin and stuff like that. Rodney fishes a lot of tournaments. Titus helps run a lot of tournaments. Austin's, like an hour away from the shop. So, it's one of those things. But we try to at least get together once a year, or have a few of us together, and then, the rest of us, doing something, getting out fishing, stuff like that. But until this whole pandemic thing goes away, there's not much we can do. But we got the boat show coming up, which is going to be on the 6th. So we're looking forward to that.
That's cool. That's a good idea because I think we ran across somebody was commenting towards the podcast last week or something towards Brad about why don't you guys ever talk about kayaks? And it's like, hey, like we have, like we can only talk about what we might have experience with. I mean, I could sit down and throw out a bunch of specs on a certain boat, but that doesn't really mean anything, Yeah. And it's really kind of hard to try to recommend boats to somebody because we've all seen the whole spiel of being like, hey, you need a demo because what Brad might like, I might not like, or Brian doesn't like, or Travis doesn't like, but Travis likes, New Canoe Flint, and I can't stand it or whatever because it just doesn't fit my needs. But it'd be cool to see that because you guys could kind of get the boats out there kind of live, almost like a 360 not a 360 view, but you know what I mean? It's not just a picture up on your computer, and a side shot of it and some spec pictures. You could get some honest opinions about it and what that individual person likes about it. So
and we'll do walkthroughs from bow to stern and really go through the details and stuff. But that I think that's the number one question, and it's something I actually learned from Travis, as far as like on the sales side of thing is, customer comes into the shop and they want to buy a bonafide 127, but all they're going to fish is small creeks. Like, obviously that's not the best boat,
Exactly.
And, so it's one of those things. And the terminology I've been using lately is, there's no such thing as a perfect boat, but there's a perfect boat for a perfect scenario.
Yeah.
And that goes a long way, so it's really one of those things where you got to kind of, break down what the primary use of that boat is going to be for certain people, and that's why, a lot of kayak fishing guys have multiple boats, one guy's got a creek boat, another guy's and then he's got a big lake boat, or open water boat, things like that. So,
or you can have 6 different boats like me.
Yeah, I mean, you could do that too.
6, that's nothing. Hell.
Yeah. Travis has 200.
Yeah. Me and Travis have 200. Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
And here I am with 0.
Yeah. You'll get there. It's okay.
You're getting yours soon.
No, that's soon enough, man.
I know.
It's just so sad. Divorce sucks. But yeah, man.
It'll be okay.
I know. I need a hug, Travis.
Yeah, Brian will give you one though.
You got to do it from 6 feet apart, though.
Yeah,
air hugs.
Virtual.
I'll get the tape measure out.
Oh Jesus. So what I was kind of wanting to ask you guys about was in regards to the shop itself also, because not only are you guys a kayak outfitter, but you also are really into the outdoors in general, like camping. We found out that snowshoeing is Brian's new hobby or old hobby. I don't know. Have you been snowshoeing for years or did you just get into it?
I started snowshoeing a little last year. And that was through the shop.
Huh. That's awesome. So, tell us a little bit about that. What kind of stuff you guys carrying? Like, I know I bought, man, I was laughing at some of the clothing stuff that you guys had. You remember at the time, Brian, when I was up there, when they had those silly hats that said stuff like Jackass, with the donkey and stuff. We wanted to make a Trash Panda one.
Yeah. The piranha clothing. Yeah. Yep. They got a couple of those.
They got the beer belly one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what brands do you carry for outdoor clothing and stuff like that? I guess.
So we carry Piranha, Outdoor Research, Exo Ficio, Mountain Khaki, a little bit of them. And that's the main brands.
Yeah. I think that's what I liked about your store when I came in last year was like the diversity of everything. You walk in the front doors, you see all this clothing, these boots, the hats, and all that stuff, and then you have another separate room for kayak accessories and kayaks, and then you have the pull around on the side of the building as well. I just thought the whole layout was cool.
Right.
Yeah, it's unique. I forget what there was like a metal shop or something like that before, right, Travis? I forget what it used to be.
It was a printing factory.
Oh, printing factory. Yeah.
Close, Brian.
Yeah, I was off.
Like,
I knew it was something
automotive
industrial.
maker.
Yeah, I was a car dealer.
Yeah. But
how long have you guys been in that location?
6 years.
Okay.
How long you been there, Travis?
I've been there going on 4 years.
How about you, Brian? If anybody doesn't know, not only is Brian like represent the shop, but he actually goes and works there.
Well,
Or so.
kind of.
2018, I think it was right after the podcast started.
Yeah.
I started going down there. I think I officially wasn't on the payroll till like 2019, but that's the thing. Like, 2018, I got started with the podcast, and wanted to get more involved in the kayak industry or kayak fishing industry.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing I learned from actually Chad Hoover, he did a video series a long time ago on like getting sponsorships and stuff like that. And he said, go down, hang out at your local shop, get to know those folks, help them out, whatever. So I actually used to go down to Rocktown on like my Sundays and just hang out in the shop for like 3-4 hours and help customers. And then finally they were like, all right, we'll give you a job. And I had kind of begged for that a little bit, but, and that's how, our partnership between Paddle and Fin and Rocktown got started and things like that, but, I used to just go down and hang out. They'd get busy. I'd answer questions for customers and things like that. And then I'd grab Travis, or at the time, Rick, that used to work there, and, get them in touch. And then, it came fishing show season for 2019. And, I helped those guys out with the shows and, all that good stuff. And then that's kind of right after that is when I started working for them, officially. But yeah, it's been like 2018.
Cool. I can picture it now. Brian sitting there helping 3 or 4 hours in the shop, and Travis is like, gosh, this guy won't leave me alone.
I finally got to take a break.
Yeah.
There you go. I like it.
No, it was good though, man. I mean, that's how you make those relationships, I know me and Travis have had some very deep conversations about like, what's our goal, and it's just getting more people outdoors and more involved into the sports we love. And that's kind of the motto at our shop. It doesn't matter if you're, a beginner or one of the most experienced guys or gals out there, we just want you out there having fun. And so we do that through, like we talked about, education, and knowledge. And, we just try to make it so everybody has a good, safe time.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly. Whether it's through kayak fishing, regular kayaking, skiing, snowshoeing. I mean, if you're outside, that's all that matters. However you do it, more power to you.
You guys carry skiing stuff too?
Yeah, we do cross country skis and snowshoes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I knew the snowshoes, but not the cross country skiing.
Yeah. Here locally, we're actually pretty fortunate because we have a few golf courses and parks that grooms cross country ski trails. Whereas a lot of, places don't really exist like that out there. So there's a ton of opportunity in the greater Rockford area to get out and do that kind of stuff. But, that's always kind of helped carry us through winter. Our GM, huge cross country ski guy, the guy that actually owns Rocktown, big country ski guy. So that was one of the things, in our area, like a good outdoor shop was lacking. So that's why Rocktown was kind of created. But we have, it's been crazy the past few weekends. I mean, Travis can tell you we've had 70 to 100 people through the door on a Sunday. And a majority of those have been cross-country ski rentals and snowshoe rentals. But on top of that, buying kayaks when it's 12 degrees outside.
Yeah. Well, they're trying to get the jump on it because they know if they wait until spring, all those kayaks are going to be gone.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So you guys sitting empty at the shop right now, waiting on shipments, or are you guys starting to get boats in now?
We're waiting. It's coming in slowly. I would say every single order that we're supposed to get has been delayed by at least 3 weeks, if not longer. For instance, like in January, I received a couple boats from a huge order, and I'm still waiting on the rest of them. And we have another order that's supposed to be here now, but we haven't received the first one yet.
Yeah.
So it's still all backed up.
Yeah.
And that's just how it's going to be the rest of the year.
I think currently we have we still got 2 Old Towns on the floor.
Yeah.
A couple of Jacksons, and then a couple of new canoes.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good choice to pick from, though. I'm surprised they're still there.
Yeah,
those are all new. That came in early. So, and I think a couple of them might already be sold, correct?
Yeah, a couple of them are.
They just haven't been picked up yet.
And I had like 5 phone calls on the Old Town Sportsman today. So I'm sure they'll be there for like 2 more days and be gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. One thing that I was impressed about when I came out there and visited Brian was that you guys have a good extensive amount of accessories available as well. You guys staying stocked with that. How's that side of it look? The accessories type of thing, like Yak Attack, Yak Gadget, that sort of thing.
The accessories are fine.
Yeah.
Not backed up at all. Like I just received a big order from Yak Attack today. And so we're fully, not back on accessories at all.
Weren't they a little slow at the beginning of last year from the pandemic? I believe they stepped back and started making hospital equipment.
Yeah. They were making face masks and PPE for hospitals and first responders.
So that hasn't really affected their Yak Attack side of the business then?
Not at all.
Interesting. Did not know that.
Yeah, they caught back up, but I mean, we were low on PFDs. We got a big order in from NRS. Like we mentioned earlier, Werner kind of shut us out. So Bending Branches, we got some paddles in from them.
That's the better paddle anyway, man.
I don't know about that, but Yak Attack.
I don't know about that.
We've been having this argument the past 2 years with Brian.
Yeah, I think I'm the only Werner guy, but
right. I'm surprised because you guys are pretty close to Bending Branches headquarters.
Yeah,
we carried some Werner canoe, Bending Branches canoe paddles. We've carried a little bit of their stuff here and there, but Werner was kind of our main go-to. But we got a ton of accessories in from the new canoe lineup. Yeah, I think that's basically it for accessories, unless I'm missing something. Oh, Kayak Carts, we got those stocked back up. Those are back in, so we're good there.
What are you guys carrying for carts?
The C-Tug.
C-Tug.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
And I think we got one from Suspends too, right? We carry a couple of Suspends carts.
Yes.
Oh, those are cool carts. Is that the one that has the bunks that can move in and out?
Yeah.
Yeah, those are cool.
Yeah, they're sweet.
I'm a big fan of the C-Tug. I mean, I had one all last year and part of the year before. And the only thing I ever had an issue with was my kickstand, and I ended up breaking it. But it was kind of my fault because I was going over, like I was in a parking lot, and the like launch area for the kayaks was up and over a road and back down into the trail, and the road is kind of raised up. And I had that kickstand flip the wrong way, so when it hit the concrete, it bent it backwards and snapped it off. So. But I mean, what's really cool about the C-Tug is you can buy replacement parts for it really easy, and it gets shipped really quick too.
Yeah.
Well, what's nice about that C-Tug too is it breaks down in 30 seconds, and it could go in a hatch or one of your tank wells or something like that. And then when you get to where you're going, like especially for river drifts, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know if it'd support one of Brad's kayaks because he puts bricks in his boats, but you get to where you're taking out. Yeah. You get to where you're taking out and, throw it together real quick, throw your kayak on it and walk back up the hill.
Yeah.
You guys would be proud of me though. I've taken down the weight of my kayaks.
5 pounds doesn't mean much, dude.
Now he's rolling he's in the Crescent versus that Bonafide 127, man. I remember the first time fishing with him, and that's the boat he had. And we're trying to go down this slight little incline hill, dude, and I eat shit right on the trail, sliding down, dude, and just basically slammed his kayak as hard as I could right onto the ground, dude. Like, yeah.
What do you think about Crescent?
I like them. They're good little boats, and they've been like a real hot seller for us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the Crescent line is helping fill a void that, that like kind of mid-price range, and people are getting on it because, everybody's getting these stimulus checks, and they're like anywhere from like $1,000, $600, and it just fits perfect,
Yeah.
Like one thing that I've always had like respect for Jackson, but I think sort of can hurt them a little bit at the same time, is Jackson has this incredible lineup of kayaks, like just to fill any need possible, whether you're a freestyler, recreational, touring, fishing, they've got it all covered. Jackson has the gamut of all kayaks. Best manufacturer as far as when it comes to covering literally every discipline when it comes to, whatever you're looking for in a kayak. But when you kind of come across that and you would get into their website, it might be a little daunting because here somebody's like getting new into it, and I'm really just looking to, kayak with their family members or whatever. It's just a lot to look at and to try to kind of figure out when you're new to it. Like we all can sit down and look through Jackson and be like, oh, that fits me, whatever. But somebody new to it, and Crescent is really, it's simple, man. And I think it's easy for people to pull a trigger on that boat and buy it because it's not as much research having to go into it at this point. Maybe the company will grow and, you may see them get into that. But I think that simplicity is really kind of meshed well with what the current situation is with COVID and the economy and everything like that. And with everybody having a little bit of money, and it's a little bit of an easier sell because they're not, I don't know, like tricked out as much, and it's not as crazy.
And that's exactly why I went with it for a riverboat.
I think that's kind of our same scenario with New Canoe. Like New Canoe is one of our better selling brands, and it's just more basic, price friendly. It's not as cheap as a Crescent, but it's got that simplistic factor, and that's why a lot of folks go to it. I'm sure Travis can attest to this, but time and time again, we've had a customer that's new in the shop. Like, why do I need all this stuff in my boat when they're looking at a Coosa or a Bonafide SS 127 or Old Town Predator or whatever it may be,
Right.
And then they go over and they look at the Jackson Bite, the New Canoe Flint, things like that. Some of those basic, starter models that are, decently priced.
Yeah. I miss the shows, man. I miss talking to people about that. I had so much fun, like breaking down what somebody had, and saying, "Hey, how many rods are you carrying? What kind of tackle are you bringing? Are you using fish finders? You need rod holders? What kind of stuff do you use?" Because it's amazing how much that the industry's grown to be able to literally find what shoe fits that person, basically.
Totally.
Sure.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a bummer, man. I did a ton of shows last year, and this year we got nothing. Just their virtual one, and it's kind of a bummer, especially for some of the team guys, man. They look forward to that every year because that's their opportunity to earn,
Yeah,
and that's kind of taken away from them this year.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
It's a bummer, but. I mean, yeah, you're totally right, dude. Like, I enjoy nothing more than just talking to people all day long. Yeah. I don't like standing on my feet for 12 hours a day, but
back hurts so bad.
But yeah, dude, it's all worth it in the long run.
Hey, Brad, can you massage my my lower back for me? Because I'm about to fall over, dude. Like,
you remember at the show last year, I took the bona fide seat out of the kayak. I sat on it on the floor. I was like, I can't stand anymore. Standing on concrete for 10 hours sucks.
I think the only one we don't mind is the one here locally in Rockford, because where our booth is, it's on an indoor soccer field, so it's like rubberized AstroTurf or AfroTurf. I don't know. AstroTurf. But so that's not as bad on the back and the feet, but the Chicago show and the Madison show, that's you're standing on concrete, and it was the same last year when I did those back-to-back weekends in Indiana too. It's just brutal.
Yeah.
Travis, do you attend those shows as well?
Oh yeah, I'll be at every show. 2 years ago, Schaumburg show will be there. Rockford Boat Show will be there. I'm there. So.
Sweet.
Yeah, I think the only one Travis doesn't go to is the Madison typically because that's a little further away. And we usually only send 2 guys up there. And that's due to we only display New Canoe up there because there's another shop up that way.
Oh, yeah.
So if we have customers that come by and they want to see a boat, we'll go over into their booth and show it to them. But, we're, that premier New Canoe dealer, here between, Illinois, Wisconsin, and northern Indiana, basically.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Now, being a shop that carries such a diverse line of brands, is every brand really kind of adopted that 50-mile radius kind of rule? Or has anybody kind of gotten lenient on it that you know of or anything weird like that?
No, it's pretty strict still,
yeah,
to my knowledge. So of all the brands that we have, there's only one certain dealer that might have the same one. Other than that, it's all past 50 miles, probably 100 miles.
Is that just like a common rule? Is like an unwritten rule type thing or what?
No, it's typically in the contracts, I believe, like when you become a dealer for those brands, that's one of the brand's commitments is they won't allow another dealer within, X amount of miles because it's no good for either company that's carrying those brands. They as a supplier want to see you little kayak shop survive and thrive with their brand.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's a pretty common thing, there's, a brand H dealer somewhat nearby, but, even them, they're, probably 60 miles away, 70 miles away, but all they carry is Hobie there. So, we don't really have anywhere super close. I think the closest dealer to us is probably Madison. And then the next closest is down in central Illinois. Okay. And we do have brands that overlap with both. But, we're pretty far spaced apart, you know.
Yeah.
Right. And you guys got the better location because you're so close to Chicago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a dealer in Indiana, but I think it's more north central Indiana, if my memory serves me right.
Fort Wayne
that's
area.
right.
I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's
But,
where Jackson Orr's shops out of.
I'm not sure. It's Liquid Fun, I think is the name of that shop. But I know they're in Indiana somewhere. But yeah, I mean, as far as like Chicago goes, you know, we're depending on where you're at in the city, we're like an hour to an hour and a half out of downtown Chicago. Like it'd probably take you an hour and a half if you were on Lake Michigan in downtown Chicago to get to us.
Yeah.
So we're not that far outside of the burbs. And we get traffic coming in from everywhere. I mean, we got people coming over from Iowa, down from Wisconsin, people coming up from central Illinois.
Minnesota.
And, you know, we've even had people come out from Indiana, Michigan. Yeah. We've actually had quite a few guys come down from Minnesota for new canoes because there isn't really a big dealer up there. So we're kind of that northern Midwest hub for new canoe.
Yeah.
And so that really helps us out. But
so that kind of blows my mind that like the whole kayak scene in the Minnesota area just hasn't caught on yet. Or has it?
I mean, there's a decent crowd up there. I think a lot of those guys up there, you just don't see them doing the tournament stuff.
Yeah,
you know?
That's what I'm talking about.
You know, Minnesota's kind of a kick-backed, laid-back state. They're not about competing. You know, those are the type of guys where they don't like sharing information. You know, like where'd you catch that one? And they'll tell you a lake like
X
150 miles in the opposite direction, you know?
Yeah.
Well, they got 10 million lakes there. What are they afraid of?
Yeah. Well, you know, they got that old, you know, old guy mentality where, you know, you don't share that information. But, you know, and not only that, like once you get outside of the cities, everything's pretty spread out, you know, it's not as
it's not very populated,
you know, as you would think.
I went out to Western Minnesota like 3 or 4 years ago, and it was the quietest like part of the country I've ever been in. It was crazy. 2 miles off the highway, you don't hear anything, you don't see anybody. I was on a lake for the whole week, and I saw one boat the whole lake, or the whole week.
Yeah,
it's like this is crazy.
Yeah.
Then you realize you weren't on the right lake.
Well, I was catching good fish, man.
No wonder we're not catching anything.
To kind of segue off of what you were talking about, we were talking about in regards to, you know, those radial rules in regards to the shops.
Yeah.
Do you think if we continue to see the growth in the kayak industry and the struggle to get the kayaks here in a better, timely fashion, that wouldn't be opened up where people would be able to start opening up shops kind of closer to each other?
I don't see that happening.
Yeah.
I feel like they're pretty strict on it because they want to protect us, right? They want to protect their dealers. If their dealers aren't doing, you know, that well because it's all concentrated, they're going to be some closing down, and it's not going to help the vendor out at all. You know, it's not going to help New Canoe that one of their dealers is closing down. So I don't see that being an issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you already saw some kayak shops shut down just in 2020 because of the pandemic. You know, they didn't have anything to go off of. Once they sold out, that was it. Whereas, you know, we have other things going on at our shop that keep us going. The camping, hiking, you know, outdoor stuff, you know, the winter sports, you know, that's what keeps us afloat, you know. So, you know, that's a thing. I mean, you saw a lot of kayak shops shut down, and even ones that were very successful. You know, people were like, all right, I got my money back out of this. I just want to be done.
Yeah.
Because the Yeah, the last few years were really tough for kayak shops.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it wasn't like everybody was having booming years. I mean, you know, we've grown at Rocktown every year, but you know, I think there was a big struggle across the country, you know, nationwide with kayak shops for the past few years. Like that industry was kind of down, and you know, thank God. I mean, you know, not thank God, but
I was like, are we about to thank God for virus?
The pandemic came,
Thank
right?
God for the Rona.
And the pandemic came, and it's revived the outdoor industry. You know, it's not just kayaks; it's bicycle shops. You know,
fishing, like everything. Dude. It's
running. You know,
anything
camping, jogging, anything outdoors related.
Hula
because
hoops.
I mean,
kickball.
Anything.
But
I can't tell you how many times I've seen in our river group, me and Josh have here in Ohio, people are complaining about how many people they've seen on the river this past year. Yeah. I'm just like,
I've heard that a lot.
Hey, man, at least they're outside.
There's a stretch of river that Travis and I actually floated, and it's really remote. Not a ton of people go down it. It's maybe some hardcore paddling guys.
Yeah.
Me and Travis went down that stretch. I don't think we saw anybody that whole time.
Just see a single person.
Then me and Jay go out a little later in the year, and we fish that section. It's an all-day float. It's like 12 miles. And we probably saw 20 or 30 people, you know, inner tubing, just paddling, you know, canoeing it, you know, and it was just like, what the heck is going on? Like, where did all these people come from? But, you know, at the same time, you know, I love seeing that people are getting out and enjoying the sports we love, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Now, what do you think was the struggle in the past couple of years due to with kayaks and the industry like that?
Electronics.
Yeah.
Too many people are concerned about this and checking their news feed and, you know, playing games and stuff like that, or, you know, just technology in general. Technology has made people lazy, in my opinion.
Totally.
That's my opinion. I'll take that up. But, you know, it's just nobody had a need to go do that stuff. Now everybody's trapped inside and can't do the things that they would normally do, you know, like go to a concert, go to a ball game, go on vacation, you know, things like that. People have drawn back from that. So what am I going to do? Well, let's go for a walk at our local park, or, you know, let's go rent a pair of cross-country skis or a kayak from Rocktown. You know, let's start, you know, biking down the trails, things like that, you know? So, I think technology is what really got people away from the outdoors. And I think people now, I mean, how many people that come into the shop, Trav, that are like, man, I'm so glad, like, I went out and did this. I'm going to do this more often. And then we've seen them come back in and do it again. Or instead of using rentals, they're investing in their own gear, you know?
Exactly.
So, I mean, that's super huge. I think now that people have found the outdoors again, I mean, and that's it too. Like, me and Travis have heard numerous times probably this year, like, oh, the last time I cross-country skied was like 20 years ago. The last time I kayaked was 30 years ago. Like, this is so much fun. I don't know why I stopped, you know? So it's getting people to get back to, you know, just being outdoors in nature in general, you know, and they're finding that spark and that passion again. So I don't think, even when things go back to normal, I think the only thing that's going to be busier is the restaurants, you know, but I think people are still going to get outdoors and recreate, you know, like, I know that's been the big talk, right? Like, everybody's buying boats right now. So the used boat market's going to be booming in a year, 2 years, or whatever. Yeah, maybe, but I think it's going to be people upgrading their boats. So I think it's something that, you know, society needed as a whole. You know, too many people are caught up in everyday, life and technology. Like they forget what's right outside the back door, you know? So,
yeah, and I was going to mention that you said the used boat market is going to blow up here in a few years. You guys, do you expect that to mess with kayak sales within the shop in the next few years, or?
I don't think so, because I think there's going to be just as much people trying to upgrade, like Brian said. Where I have a feeling it's gonna offset. I mean, sure, you're gonna have a big used market, but I don't think it's gonna hurt the retail sales at the store.
That's good.
Yeah.
No, and it kind of benefits, you get people to get out there, sell their used boats to the next person. And it's just like,
It's a cycle.
It's a cycle. And then you see that guy's like, all right, I had this boat, man. Now I like his new boat. I want to get that boat. And,
right.
It's just a vicious cycle. I mean, look at Brad last year. Brad was in 6 different freaking kayaks in 6 months. So
2021 will be the exact same.
Yeah.
One I had team one.
He's like, what are you talking about?
Well, I'm stuck with the Crescent for now. So I mean,
for now, like that's it.
Yeah, for now. That's the thing. Like when he talks about it, he's like, for now.
At least until September. At least until September. And then next year it's going to be in Drew's boat. Cool
the Crescent is fine, dude. Like that's
I love the thing. Yeah,
you also have a Hobie in your garage just itching to be sold to try a different lake boat out.
It probably will be sold.
Yeah.
He's in so much denial. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
Brad's just like, deny. He's like a lawyer. Like a lawyer at a DUI freaking like
he needs
deny.
He needs Kayaks Anonymous.
You guys got any more of those kayaks?
You need help.
Oh man.
Now, I wish I could have them all, man. I hate being brand specific. I found that out last year. I want them all.
Yeah.
I don't like you don't understand. Like I got to go visit you, Brian, and I was like, "Oh, this is like heaven." Brian's just like, let's take that one, and let's take that one.
Yeah.
Hey, what do you want to try today, dude? I'm like, I'll try that Lisk. No problem. So
yeah. I mean, that's one of the perks of working with Rocktown, and it was clutched because back in the day when we started the podcast, I would go grab a demo boat, and it was like because at that time I wasn't nailed down to any brand, and even still, like I'm on Team New Canoe, but I'll go out and paddle a different boat and just get a feel for it. And, a lot of times Travis will call me and be like, hey, what'd you think of this boat? Mm-hmm. And we'll compare notes because we'll have a customer looking at it. Or, like Josh came out and, and Brad too, when you guys came out, I was like, oh, don't bring a boat. I got an extra one. I'll have an extra one here. And it's kind of nice, like I have access to demo boats, which is awesome, because I can be in any boat at any given point in time. And it goes back to having that perfect boat for that perfect scenario, having that luxury at my fingertips, I'm pretty spoiled, I will say.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, I admit it. Okay.
How long did you use the Blue Sky for?
I don't know, a year and a half, something like that. But that's the thing, man. It's and that's unique. Most dealers carry demo boats. Going back to the demos. Our thing at Rocktown is we'd much rather have you be satisfied with your purchase than come back to us and be like, why'd you sell me this piece of junk because it didn't fit those scenarios,
Exactly.
So we even with the pandemic, we set up some personal demos one-on-one right across the street from the shop on the river. So we will be doing that this year again. So if you want to come out and demo a boat, we did do some demo days, but we had limited participants for that. So, that's available.
Yeah, I think it's important, especially for you. It's important that you can be in every boat like that, just so you can give the customers like the info they need. for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And, you
Right.
know, that's the thing too. Like, I know Travis and the boys at the shop were a little worried that I was only going to push one brand out the door. And I was like, really, dude? Like, I know better than that. Come on, you know?
Yeah.
Back in
It's
your
hard
bottom
not to
5
be
years.
biased, though, you know? It's hard.
Yeah. I mean, but the first thing I tell a customer, because we get that all the time. Well, what do you fish out of? What do you paddle? You know?
Yeah.
And it's like, I paddle this. However, what I like, what you like, and the next person like are going to be 3 different things.
Mm-hmm.
So let's like sit here and talk about this and break down what you're going to be doing, what you need out of this boat, what features you like of boats and things like that. And then we'll show you the options that fit that criteria. And then, you know, 9 times out of 10, we'll set them up with a demo, or if they're pretty set on it, you know, they'll buy it and take it off the showroom floor. So, but I mean, it's key. And I mean, even for us on the podcast, you know,
I didn't think that we would actually get him off of the Blue Sky Boatworks, but that's Brian.
Taking a nap,
Maxing
sleeping
and
on the job
relaxing.
like he does at
Look,
Rocktown.
he's fishing still. He's just relaxing while he does it. I didn't think we'd get you off that thing, to be honest with you. You were in love with that thing.
yeah, well, sometimes in life you got to move on to bigger and better things.
Yeah. It's the funniest thing that we have a video where he's dancing a jig while fishing a jig on the platform. It's hilarious, dude.
But I mean, that's the thing too. Like, you know, not a lot of dealers have experience with that boat. And
Yeah.
we've had a lot of customers, you know, bigger guys come in interested about that. And because, you know, I took that out and spent so much time on it, like, you can give honest feedback, you know, and it's, you guys know, you work with Loveland, and, you know, being able to differentiate or be able to relate to a customer and tell them the difference between each boat from your own personal level, spending time in them, that's huge. And that goes a long way with a customer.
Yep.
Yeah.
Completely agree.
Awesome, man. Well, I think we'll wind it down now. We hit that hour mark. I appreciate you guys coming on and hanging out.
Yeah, man.
It was fun.
If anybody's interested in the shop, I see it scrolling on the bottom there, but check out rocktownadventures.com. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram. We do all kinds of guided trips throughout the year, whether it be hiking, overnight camping, overnight kayak camping trips, you know, all that good stuff, just day kayak trips, things like that. Go to Rocktown Adventures, check out our events calendars. I know we got, I think we're doing a hiking trip down on, what is that? What's the big trail down in the east?
The Appalachian Trail.
Appalachian Trail.
Yeah.
We're doing the AT. That's what I'm looking for.
East Dome.
Appalachian Trail, Porcupine Mountains. I think we're doing, I heard 3 overnight river trips.
Huh.
Those are generally in Wisconsin. I think one's Wisconsin River. The other one, other 2 are smaller rivers that are just as cool.
Wisconsin's a bucket list for me, man. I want to hit it.
Yeah, it's pretty unique. Like I did that years ago, but you paddle down that thing and there's little sandbar islands in the middle of the river, and you just set up camp on one of those.
That's cool.
And then there's a couple places where you could pull off as you're floating down to, you know, get ice or restock on food or whatever. But, you know, we have a guide that goes with that. He cooks all the meals. You know, you carry your gear. It's more of a paddling adventure than it is a fishing adventure. But yeah, we do all kinds of trips and stuff like that. So I encourage, you know, somebody if they're ever wanted to do any of that stuff, look into that. The guides and stuff that we use are very experienced, very knowledgeable. You will learn a lot from all those guys. Whether it's a day trip on the river or, you know, like I said, backpacking the AT or, you know, doing an overnight camping trip. If you've never done that before, it'd be better to go on a trip like that with an experienced guide than to, just go out and do it, just so you know what you're in for. But very cool stuff that we do. I know we didn't even touch on like any of the camping, hiking, backpacking stuff, but if you guys, I know we got a lot of kayak fishermen that listen to this. If you guys are looking for awesome tents, sleeping bags, you want like the dehydrated meals, like the little MSR stoves, like the jet boil type stuff. We carry all that. If you're local to us, we rent a lot of that equipment too. So if you're going, to an event for a weekend but you don't own a tent or a sleeping bag or any of that stuff, we rent that stuff out. So, I just throwing that out there that, check that out. And there's more to it than that. And then obviously we mentioned all the clothing and stuff like that. So
come see us.
Did I miss anything? T-Bone?
Yeah, we'll talk about it later.
Yeah. That means I hit everything, but yeah.
That's funny.
No, you're good. You got it.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate you guys coming on. It's always good to talk to you, Travis, Brian, Brad, not so much. Sorry, man.
Yeah, whatever.
But
wait, is Brian here? No.
Is what?
Wow.
So is Brian even here right now?
Yeah.
Wow.
You can't, you get Brian going, man. You can't get him to be quiet. You're just like, all right, dude.
Yeah.
All right.
Keep on going.
All right.
3 hours later, we're still sitting.
Brian's outdoor guide service for the planet.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm hiking the TA trail.
Yeah. What's that trail in the east? What do you think that trail in the east?
West?
And I'm like Eastern Illinois. I don't know, dude. Like, what are you
We're going
talking?
to Florida.
I thought he was talking about East Illinois.
No.
I'm like the Appalachian Trail.
Yeah,
AT.
Actually, go ahead.
No, go ahead, dude. You're good. Spit it out, bro.
I went down to North Carolina one year and I said Appalachian Trail. The person looked at me. They're like, "That's not how you say it." I was like, "What?" They said it's Appalachian.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it depends on
What part of the
what
country you're in?
Yeah, they like kind of offended I said it. They were just like, "No, it's Appalachian." I was like, "Okay."
Wow.
You're like, you keep that close to your heart, bro. And then you walk out the room and you go, Appalachian! Just roll out.
Yeah.
I did hope they're not following you, and then you got a wrong turn movie in the works right there.
Oh man.
But no, like I said, thanks for visiting, Travis, Brian. Thanks for coming on. I set this up kind of quick. I think it was yesterday or day before. So I appreciate you guys taking the time out to talk to us again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of course.
All right, Brad, you got anything else? You want to close it out, bro?
Sure. We'll see you guys later. Bye.
Adios.
Hey, thanks, guys, for listening to the show. We'll see you guys next week. Not sure who we have planned yet, but you guys will enjoy it. So have a good night.
See you.
Thanks for tuning in to another killer episode on Paddle and Fin. Don't forget to go check out our website at paddle_and_fin.com. Don't forget to check out the YouTube channel at Paddle and Fin. If you got a question, comment, want to hear from a future guest on a future episode, feel free to email us at paddle_and_fin@gmail.com. Don't forget to follow us on social media at Paddle and Fin on Facebook and Instagram. Shout out to our show supporters, Angler. The Angler button and app just makes for a better time on the water and creates a virtual logbook for every fishing outing out on the water. Shout out to Rocktown Adventures, located in Northern Illinois, for all your kayaking, camping, and hiking needs. Shout out to Jig Masters Jigs. When in doubt, get the jig out. Go to jigmasters.com